As you begin thinking about the conflict, keep in mind that each party involved may have different perceptions about the situation, and these may be attributed to things like culture, race, ethnicity, gender differences, previous experiences, and general and situational knowledge. The easiest way to eliminate or manage conflict is to anticipate it. Here we presented some key questions that help you along your way in your conflict management. What are some of the key sources of conflict in your workplace? You should identify them, and at that point you can start identifying and creating tools to eliminate or reduce the conflict. When does conflict occur? Is someone more prone to conflict than another one? If so, there might be some personal innovation or some professional development that needs to take place. How do people respond to these conflicts as they arise? Again, perhaps some professional development or some training might help how they react to certain conflicts. When you solve problems, do you do so for the moment, or do you put in place systems for addressing these types of concerns in the future? Often, policies and procedures are put in place to help eliminate conflict into the future. You need to take certain steps in order to effectively deal with conflict. Step 1 is to know yourself. Understand your perceptual filters, biases, and triggers. Step 2. Clarify personal needs threatened by a dispute. Clarify the substantive, procedural, and psychological needs. Look at the BATNA, the WATNA, and the MELANTA. I'm not sure if this is how you really say them, but it basically stands for BATNA is the best alternative to a negotiated agreement. The WATNA, worst alternative to a negotiated agreement. And MELANTA, the most likely alternative to a negotiated agreement. Identify the desired outcomes from a negotiated process. Step 3 is to focus on listening as your first priority. Seek first to understand and then be understood. Remove all the distractions as much as possible. In step number 3, you do more of active listening. Avoid using poor listening habits. Listen for the whole message. Ask questions for clarification, and practice reflective listening and reframing. In step 4, you need to assert your needs clearly and specifically. Build from what you have heard and continue to listen well. Remain open and flexible. In step 5, approach problem solving with flexibility. Identify issues clearly and concisely. Be sure to brainstorm or generate options while deferring judgment. Be open to problem definitions and clarify criteria for decision making. This will help you in step 6, where you manage a dead end in discussion calmly, patiently, and respectively. If you should have a dead end, remember to clarify feelings and focus on underlying needs, interests, and concerns. And finally, step 7, where you build an agreement that works. Make sure your agreement is fair, balanced, and realistic. After you've implemented, make sure you evaluate the solution, make sure it's still fair, balanced, and realistic, and the agreement is still working. Here we have the short to-do list for you in the workplace. These same principles can be applied to negotiating with others outside your team, outside your organization, or with a supplier or customer. First, you want to avoid feelings or perceptions that imply the other person is wrong or needs to change. You want to communicate a desire to work together and explore the problem and seek a solution collaboratively. You'll identify with the another team member's problems, identify with her feelings, and accept a team member's reaction. Treat everybody else with respect and trust, and investigate issues rather than taking sides on them. As with most conflict, you want to make sure that good relationships are your first priority. Keep the people and the problem separate, and pay attention to the interests that are being presented. Always listen first, talk second. Make sure you set out the facts and explore all the options together, again, collaboratively. As a supervisor, you need to make sure conflict management is a part of your strategic planning. You need to assess and manage your conflict climate and be a good listener. Understand various forms of aggression and learn when and how to intervene. Provide an effective channel for upward feedback and model the conflict management behaviors that you want to see in others. Establish ground rules. Make sure that policies and procedures are followed for conflict management. Here we have some simple ground rules. First, one person speaks at a time. 2. Make sincere commitments to listen to one another and try to understand the other person's point of view before responding. 3. What we discuss together will be kept in confidence unless there is an explicit agreement regarding who needs to know further information. 4. We agree to talk directly with the person with whom there are concerns, and not to seek to involve others, such as gossip and alliance building. 5. We agree to try our hardest and trust that others are doing the same within the group. And finally, number 6, we agree to attack the issues, not attack the people with whom we disagree. Finally, we want to say good luck. Conflict management is not easy. It is difficult. But by doing so, you'll create a productive workplace and have happier employees. There's definitely a lot more information out there online and in the books so that you can create a better workplace through adequate and functional conflict management.